And viewers, it was one of the Congress government's most talked about welfare schemes. We are talking about the Indira Canteens. Now, this was launched in 2017, aimed at eliminating hunger and providing affordable meals to the urban poor in Karnataka. But 7 years on, the reality on the ground is painting a very different picture. In the latest budget, 186 new Indira Canteens were announced with much fanfare. But at times now, reality check is revealing a startling truth. Only 78 of those canteens are actually operational. Another 52 are fully constructed and are ready to serve the meals. Yet, why do they remain shut? That's the question many are asking, because they are waiting on local MLAs to show up for the inauguration. We are going to take you through some exclusive ground reports as we bring you the full story. But remember, viewers, this was one of the flagship schemes and promises of the Congress government in Karnataka. 186 new Indira Canteens were announced, but on the ground, the reality is different. Listen to the number carefully. Only 78 out of 186 canteens are actually operational. Another 52 are fully constructed and are ready to serve meals, but they remain shut. Why? Because local MLAs do not have time to show up for the inauguration.
When Chief Minister Indira took charge in the state of Karnataka, he had in fact launched a flagship food subsidization program known as the Indira Canteens, popularized after Indira Gandhi. However, even as the government announced 186 new canteens, only 78 of these are still operational, while 52 canteens are constructed and await the inauguration by our VIPs or the of the area. Unfortunate as it is, these canteens not being opened have affected the mass population at large, the urban poor, who's dependent on these canteens for subsidized food at 5 rupees for breakfast and 10 rupees for lunch or dinner. Remember, of course, this comes even as the opposition now has been mounting a huge attack on the government here, saying that they do not care about the poor, nor do they care about development. Bigger questions right now arising about how, despite having used this particular scheme as one of the flagship programs to come back to power in the state of Karnataka and promising the public, this is something that still remains unaccomplished. In Bengaluru, with video journalist Dilip, this is Neha Hebale, 4 Times Now.
And my colleague Neha filed that exclusive report, but let's get you the numbers, because this is the story of what is happening on the ground in Karnataka. The Congress party used reality of their caste survey, something that they wanted to finish off within 10 seconds without even interacting with people. So if that could happen in less than 10 seconds, when it comes to delivery of promises, why isn't that quick enough? Let's look at the numbers, because so far there are 130 fully completed Indira Canteens and under construction are 56. These are the 186 new Indira Canteens, but what is the reality? Let's take you through the reality check of the Indira Canteens. That there are 78 that are operational, but 52 are ready but are awaiting the inauguration by MLA. So this is the breakdown of the Indira Canteens, 130 complete canteens, and this is the breakdown. Now the operational canteens so far are only 78. What was the promise made? The promise made that these Indira Canteens are being made to ensure that the poor does not go hungry. But in reality, when it comes to 52 canteens, Indira Canteens are fully constructed, shut. Why? Because local MLAs have not found the time to come in and inaugurate them. So when it comes to the remaining of the 56 canteens, the construction hasn't even started yet. They are saying that these sites also haven't been finalized and the process remains buried in red tape. So the Congress government for now, what is it insisting? It is insisting that all will be completed in the next 2 months. But this promise has sparked off criticism, with the opposition now raising questions. They are asking, even there are activists in the state who are asking that where is the sense of priority? When you make a promise, when you use this as a plank for elections, when you promise something to the poorest of poor in the state, And when you do not deliver, what is the message that you are sending? That's the question many are asking today.
Yesterday, I was talking to a lot of senior citizens, and they say that, earlier before COVID, they used to get food in the Indira Canteens, and now many are shut down and many are not functioning. Finally, it's a question of, dignity, it's a question of health, it's a question of human rights. And what we are finding increasingly is that state governments promise a lot of things. Some of it is on paper. They make big announcements. But if you actually go to the field, if you go to the community, you see that the implementation is extremely poor.
There is no development at all in the Karnataka. For that purpose, they wanted a cheap programs like this, and whatever they started in Bangalore, it is not working properly. There is no food available sometimes there. Even though they announced 186 or something, we are going to start all over Karnataka, but there is nothing. So that they are just showing the public that we are going to do, that's all. They are not doing.
Last year when CM Sidra Maya Sahib, that time also 186 canteen open, and now present this time also 186 open. In there 130 already completed. Another balance 56 something balance is there because some site problem, somewhere a MLA will be not given that near proposal. That reason some 40 or 50 is pending. That also within 1 month, 2 months, 100% clearance.
My colleague Neha is joining us. Neha, you've been on the ground. You've been getting us this reality check, showing us the status of the Indira Canteens. Now, one question many would ask is a flagship scheme where loud promises were made, but on the ground, it's all about red tapeism. It is shocking that more than 50 canteens are ready and they're ready to serve the meals, but MLAs do not have the time for inauguration and so they are not functional. Neha, if you can hear me.
Well, that's absolutely right. Shocking as it is, these were those very canteens that were in fact, promised to the urban poor, stating that, this would be subsidized food in a bid to ensure that, nobody goes hungry. And as shocking as it is, 186 canteens is what the government had announced in the budget, of which, while 130 are completed, just a mere 78 are operating. This is barely, in fact, this is less than half those canteens. Now, why, you ask, 52 of these canteens that have been completed, that are ready for inauguration, where food is ready to be and served, thrown open to the public, merely because of the lack of a VIP inauguration there, either of the local MLA or, of course, of the government representatives. These canteens have their doors shut to the urban poor. Most unfortunate state of affairs, of course, also given the fact that, we've seen the manner in which the government, of course, has been boasting about its schemes here, about how it's working for the poor and for the masses at large. But, questions, of course, arising. We posed that to the minister in concern, Mr. Rahim Khan there, and he, of course, went on to say that within the next month or two, these canteens would be completed, those that aren't, and those that are ready but haven't been inaugurated by the VIPs also, in fact, would be thrown open. We'll, of course, keep a few months to check whether at all the government has fulfilled its promises or not, because this is something that's impacting the masses largely.
No, so, Neha, when was the promise made? The promises made in the year 2017, if I'm not wrong. And now, if the canteens are still not functional, and if all the promises are not delivered, if the promise for 186 Indira Canteens hasn't been delivered, the ones that are ready are not yet properly operational, then there will be questions asked.
Well, yes, in fact, these 186 canteens that are being referred to were announced in the last budget of the Chief Minister, Indira Canteens, wherein, of course, he said that 186 new canteens would be added across the state. But the question, of course, now arising about, one, the existing canteens itself, in fact, in many places, not really functioning, of course, to its efficient capacity there. We've had public health experts come out and call this out, saying the quality of the food in many canteens isn't up to the mark. Many places you don't have the food being served as well. But what is, of course, imperative is our focus on these 186 new canteens that were announced in the last budget of the Chief Minister.
Right.
Those promises that haven't been fulfilled right now.
Right.
But 52 canteens merely awaiting a VIP's inauguration there. Extremely sad state of affairs.
Absolutely. So the scheme, which is a most talked about scheme, was launched in 2017, and these 186 canteens that Neha has done a reality check on was promised and announced in the last budget. And in this reality check, once again, viewers, let's take you through the numbers, because in this reality check, only 78 of the 186 canteens are operational, 52 are fully constructed and are ready to serve meals, but they remain shut. Now, Neha's report highlights how the promises remain unfulfilled. Neha, what more, when you spoke to the authorities, when you asked them these questions, what is the excuses or what is the reasoning that was told to you?
Well, of course, to keep the story fair and balanced, we've got the government as well as the opposition on this. And, what is shocking is that when you have MLAs in the state of Karnataka cutting across party lines here, in fact, having the time to carry about their other duties, having the time to go about, to merely spend about, 20 minutes to half an hour possibly at the most on the inauguration of these canteens, which is going to be, benefiting masses at large. That's the kind of apathy over here in the state. While in several constituencies, of course, it has been the Congress MLAs who haven't had time to really inaugurate the canteens and throw it open for the public. In many other constituencies, it has been other MLAs from other parties as well. Largely, of course, the question over here, the responsibility arising out of the government here being 186 canteens that were promised, of which so far, remember, only 78
Neha,
are
because
operating.
there are questions that the BJP is asking, and we have Mr. Ashok Gowda of the Bharatiya Janata Party joining us. Mr. Gowda, my colleague Neha is with us. She has done a reality check on the status of Indira Canteens as promised by the Congress government in Karnataka. In the last budget, the promise was 186 new Indira canteens, but our reality check shows that 78 of those canteens are operational, 52 are constructed and are ready to serve meals, but because local MLAs cannot show up for the inauguration, they haven't even opened up. What's your message to the Congress when something like this comes to the fore?
In Indira Canteen, there is already the scam which was noted and complaint was given to the Lokayukta in Siddaramaya's previous government itself. They had claimed that they had done 168 Indira Canteens and every month they are paying an X amount, which was close to around, each canteen was getting around 10 to 15 lakhs. And our BJP leader, N.R. Ramesh, had clearly demonstrated in front of the Lokayukta that there is a scam which happened even in the construction as well in the bills which are getting paid out to the Indira Canteen people who are running it. Part one. Part now, as Neha has already done the reality, only 78 are functional out of this 168. And additionally, what they had done is 168 were constructed. Additionally, they had done the mobility Indira Canteens in few of the areas where they could not find the land. That is what was done. And even this mobility Indira Canteens are not functional now.
Okay.
And out of one, Bangalore had 198 wards, the PBMP wards. And these PBMP wards were all supposed to be facilitated with the Indira Canteens. Out of 198, they had actually on record they had done 182, 168 constructed, remaining mobility vehicles. Out of this, what happened to all that infrastructure during the Siddaramaya government itself till 2018? And when Siddaramaya government has come back to the power, it's 26 months as of today. What has happened to this Indira Canteen is a gross corruption, It is just demonstrating that it is not just Valmiki scam, Muda scam,
Right.
Wakaf scam or
Okay.
anything else. Even in Indira Canteen, Congress government is looting people.
So these are
They
very
just-
serious allegations that you are making, Mr. Gaura. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. My colleague Neha continues to stay with us. Neha has made these allegations of corruption. They are reminding of the promises made in the previous tenure of Siddaramaiah, and now they are going on to say that even when it comes to the mobile Indira canteens, there is some sort of anomaly there. Take us through the political aspect of it now that the Bharatiya Janata Party in Karnataka is making allegations of corruption.
Well, yes, of course, call it corruption or call it lack of will if you would. But the fact is that, these were canteens that were promised to the masses in the last budget. They still haven't been delivered. And what, of course, makes it worse here is the fact that several of those canteens, 52 canteens is the figure that the Chief Minister's office, of course, says. 52 of these canteens, remember, are ready. They're constructed. The food, of course, is ready to be supplied there, but merely for the lack of inauguration here of a VIP, possibly for the lack of time over here, and like you rightly pointed out earlier as well, Indira canteens in the past have been mired with corruption as well, a host of issues that have been reported from there too, but this time around, of course, really shocking to say the least.
So there's time for political lobbying, there's time for doing camp versus camp, there's time for ensuring that the caste survey promise is quickly executed by just sticking stickers on the walls, but there is no time to come and inaugurate an Indira canteen that is fully ready. It wants to serve meals, but because MLA Saab doesn't have time, the canteens are not operational. That's the state of affairs on the ground. Thank you for getting us that reality check. We'll keep our focus on that story, but we're also